quickly recap chapter 4, that is ratio analysis. So before ratio analysis, why ratio analysis we will understand. So financial statements of the company. What is financial statements of the company? This is a statement by which the company will communicate to the users what has actually happened, how the company has performed. So financial statement is a means to communicate to the users what has actually happened in the company, how the company has performed. So the results of the company is presented by way of financial statements. Financial statement includes balance sheet, first one. So balance sheet is a statement which discloses the assets, liabilities and capital of the company. It shows the financial position of a company on a particular day, and that particular date will be the end of the year, normally 31st March or 31st December, depending upon which year we are following, either calendar year or financial year. Then comes our statement of profit and loss account. So in statement of profit and loss account, we will record all the expenses, revenues, and the balancing figure will be either profit or loss. So this profit and loss statement shows the financial performance of the company during a period. Why during the period is, we record all the expenses and incomes which we have earned and expenses incurred during a year, that is from 1st April till 31st March. So that is why profit and loss statement will give the financial performance for the year or for the period. Okay, next comes cash flow statement. This is a statement which shows the summary of cash inflows and cash outflows of the company. Cash inflows might be from different activities like operating, financing and investing. And in the same way, cash outflow also will be for various purposes like operating, financing and investing. So from these three major activities, what is the cash inflow and cash outflow will be presented in cash flow statement, and it is prepared on cash basis. Okay, so these are the three major components of financial statements. And sometimes what happens, I will not get a clear picture by just going through the financial statements of the company. So I have to get what is the performance of the company in terms of profit compared to their assets, compared to their capital. So I have to calculate various ratios like current ratio, quick ratio also, to know whether my asset is sufficient to pay my liabilities. So in that case, we have to do something called as ratio analysis. For that, first we will see what is the analysis of financial statement. So under analysis of financial statement, we will try to see what is the relationship between the two numbers which are presented in my financial statements. There are various data or numbers presented in my financial statements, like in profit and loss account, sales or any other income, and on the debit side all the expenses will be disclosed. So these are the various numbers. Coming to balance sheet, there will be various number of assets, fixed asset, current asset, under that various category. Coming to the liability side, share capital, reserves and surplus and liabilities. So we will try to take any two numbers and we will try to check what is the relationship between them. So that is called analysis of financial statements. There are various methods, analytical methods for analyzing financial statements. What are those? One by one we will see. First one is comparative statement. That is, I will compare my profit and loss account or balance sheet of this year with the last year and check whether my performance has improved or not. Or else this is called intra-firm comparison. Or else I can also compare my profit and loss account or balance sheet with my competitors also, that is with the outsiders. We call this as inter-firm comparison, to know how are my competitors performing and how am I performing. Clear? Yes, sir. Then coming to common size statements. Common size statements we do both for profit and loss statement and balance sheet. In profit and loss statement, we normally take sales as 100 and we will compare all other items in the profit and loss statement with sales and see how much is my particular item or respective item when compared to sales. So if I take sales as 100, I will compare each and every item in the profit and loss statement with sales and see what is the percentage of each item when compared to sales. Okay. Then coming to common size balance sheet, we normally take total assets or total liabilities as a base and we will compare each and every items in the balance sheet with that and see what is the percentage of each item when compared to total assets or total liabilities. This is called common size income statement or common size balance sheet. We are taking a common base and we are comparing all other items with that common base. Next, coming to trend ratio. Trend ratio is we will take a particular item like EPS, sales, profit, or any item in the balance sheet or profit and loss statement, and we will see how it is performing over a period of time, that is in the last 5 years or last 10 years. So how is the trend? Is it going up or is it coming down year after year? We are checking. That is called trend ratios. Next, coming to cash flow statement, which we have already discussed. Then coming to fund flow statement. Fund flow statement is similar to cash flow statement, which is sources and application of funds. It discloses sources and application of funds. Sources means from what all sources the company is getting the money. Fund. It might be by issuing share capital, issuing debentures, or by borrowing the money, or else by selling any assets of the company, or also from sales. All these are sources of fund for the company. And in the same way, there will be something called as application of fund. That is how the funds are utilized, for what purpose it is utilized. So it can be for the payment of interest or dividend for the investors, or it can be to purchase fixed asset or current assets or any other expenses of the company. Clear? Yes, sir. So fund flow statement discloses two things: the sources of fund and the application of fund, which is nothing but utilization of fund. Next comes our ratio analysis. So our chapter is all about ratio analysis. Sir, what do we do in ratio analysis is we will take two accounting figures, whichever is presented in my financial statement, and we will see what is the relationship between those two figures. How are they performing? Is it good or bad for a company? So there are various ratios which we will calculate. Each ratio has its own significance, where we have to check, okay, is it good or bad for a company to have higher ratio or lower ratio? Clear? So ratio analysis focus on three key factors of the business. They are liquidity, profitability, and solvency. Liquidity means company has enough cash to pay their liabilities. Profitability means what is the profit the company is earning on their investment. Next, coming to solvency. Solvency is whether the company's liability is enough, whether the company's assets is enough to pay the liabilities of the company. It can be calculated for both short term as well as long term. Okay. So before going through the ratios, should be knowing the format, rough balance sheet format. Clear? So what are those? On the equity and liability side, we will have equity share capital, reserves and surplus, which both belongs to equity shareholder. Then comes to preference share capital. All these three put together, we call it as owner's capital. Clear? Then long term or non-current liabilities. Then short term or current liabilities. This is the liability side. Then coming to the asset side, fixed asset, which is nothing but long term asset. Under that there is tangible, intangible. Then current assets, which is short term asset. Then comes fictitious assets. Fictitious assets actually is not an asset, but it belongs to equity shareholders. So what and all it will come, what will come under fictitious assets is like P&L account debit balance, that is if there is any loss, or else if there is anything called as miscellaneous expenses or preliminary expenses, which is not yet debited to P&L account, it will be shown under fictitious assets. Clear? And normally we reduce it in reserves and surplus. If by chance if it is separately given as fictitious assets, we have to reduce it while calculating shareholder fund. So we calculate various things using this format like equity shareholder fund, or capital employed and all, which I have given the formulas or equations here. You guys can just go through this once, which we also discussed in our regular class. Next comes our profit statement. So profit statement discloses the different items of profit at different levels of profit. So sales minus COGS will give me gross profit. From gross profit, if I reduce all indirect expenses, which includes factory overheads, selling and distribution, office and administrative, all the expenses I have to reduce, I will get something called as operating profit, which is also called as EBIT. Next, if I reduce interest from this, I will get profit before tax. Then I will deduct tax from it. Then I will get profit after tax. Then we will reduce preference dividend. We will get profit available to equity shareholders, and from that a portion will be paid as equity dividend, and the balance is retained earnings. The balance is retained earnings. So if I divide profit available to equity shareholders by number of equity shares, I will get something called as earnings per share or EPS. Then if I divide equity dividend by number of equity shares, I will get something called as dividend per share or DPS. Next, if I have to calculate dividend payout ratio, simple, dividend per share divided by earnings per share into 100. That is, out of your earnings, how much percentage is paid as dividend. That is called dividend payout ratio. And if I ask you, sir, what is the profit available to the providers of fund, that is providers of long-term fund, the figure is EBIT, that is before paying interest and tax. If you ask me, sir, what is the profit available to preference shareholders, then this is the figure. Next, what is the profit figure available to equity shareholders, means this one. Yeah, and sometimes this and this will be equal. When there is no preference shareholder or preference share capital in the company, then profit after tax is nothing but my profit available to equity shareholders. Agree? Yes. If any information is not given in the question, we have to assume it to be 0. That's all. We cannot randomly take or assume any figures. Next, coming to classification of ratios, functional classification. On the basis of ratios are categorized as follows. That is 4 categories there. Financial ratios or solvency ratios. Using this, we will be able to judge whether the company is able to pay their liabilities both in short term as well as long term. Clear? So we can calculate short term solvency ratio, which is also called as liquidity ratio. That is, the company have enough cash, that is current assets, whether it is more than current liabilities, we have to check, which are called liquidity ratios. Then come long term solvency ratio, which is also called as capital structure ratio, whether the long term assets of the company is enough to pay the long term liabilities of the company, we will check it here. Then coming to turnover ratio or activity ratio, here we will try to compare our turnover, which is nothing but sales, with different figures to know the effectiveness of the capital or assets used in the business, whether the capital or the assets of the company are used effectively to generate sufficient returns or sufficient sales, we would be calculating. Next, coming to profitability ratio. So here we will calculate our different profitability ratio by comparing with different bases like sales or assets or capital. Next, coming to market test ratio. Here, by using the market related information, we will calculate few ratios. So what are those ratios and what is the formula for calculating each ratio? We will see it now one by one. First, financial ratios or solvency ratios. Under that, liquidity ratio or short term solvency ratio, we call it as. Here we will try to understand what is the ability of the company to pay its short term liabilities, nothing but current liabilities. Okay, here 2 important ratios are there, that is current ratio and quick ratio. Current ratio means current assets divided by current liabilities. So here, well, we will check whether the company is having sufficient current assets to pay their current liabilities. The ideal ratio is 2:1, but bank prefers 1.33 of current ratio. Next, coming to quick ratio, liquid ratio or the acid test ratio. Here we will take quick assets divided by current liabilities. Sir, what is quick assets? Simple, current assets minus inventory minus prepaid expenses is my quick assets, or we also call it as liquid assets. Okay, sir, what is the ideal ratio? 1:1. So here we are checking what is the amount. Quick assets means what is the amount which I can immediately convert it into cash. What is the amount of assets which I can immediately convert it into cash? Inventory will take some time because I have to sell it and then get the money. So all other assets other than stock and prepaid expenses, all other current assets is considered as quick assets. Okay, so that is highly liquid assets. Then coming to long-term solvency ratios. First one is debt equity ratio. Whenever debt equity ratio is calculated, long-term debt will be taken as numerator divided by equity. If they specifically ask in the question to take total liabilities, then we will take total liabilities in the numerator, which is nothing but long-term liabilities plus current liabilities. Okay, so what is the ideal ratio? If you are using the first formula, the ideal ratio is 2:1. If you are using the second formula, then the ideal ratio is 0.67. Clear? Yes, sir. And from this ratio, I will get to know what is the capital structure of the company. So in the capital structure, how much is debt? How much is equity of the company? Okay, next coming to capital gearing ratio. In this, what we will do is, we will calculate in the numerator, we will take in the numerator the fixed bearing funds, fixed cost bearing funds. So for what all capital I have to pay the fixed cost, like fixed dividend or fixed interest, it is preferential capital, debenture or any loan for on which I have to pay either fixed interest or fixed dividend, divided by the equity shareholders fund, which is equity share capital plus reserves and surplus, and if any losses or fictitious asset is there, reduce it. Chalo. Next coming to fixed asset ratio. So here we will take fixed assets divided by long term funds. Long term fund, which includes, which is nothing but capital employed, guys, which is nothing but capital employed, which is the equity shareholders fund plus preference share capital plus long term debt. Okay, sir. Then coming to proprietary ratio, proprietary fund divided by total assets. Proprietary fund is nothing but the shareholder fund, which includes even preference share capital. Okay. Next, coming to interest coverage ratio. This will depict whether the company has enough profit to pay interest. And the ideal ratio is 7:1. What is the formula to calculate it? What is the profit you are having before paying interest? EBIT. So divide EBIT by interest expenses. Simple. Next, coming to dividend coverage ratio. Does company have enough profit to pay dividend? We have to calculate it here. So what is the profit available before paying dividend, guys? Profit after tax. Profit after tax divided by dividend, and both dividend we are taking here, that is equity plus preference. So in the numerator, we have to take profit after tax. Okay, so next coming to turnover ratio or activity ratio. So this ratio shows how effectively the firms are employing its resources. Resources means capital or assets. How effectively the company are using their capital and assets, we will try to see. So first one is inventory turnover ratio or stock turnover ratio. How to calculate it? COGS or raw material consumed divided by average stocks. So what is COGS? Opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock. And if there is any purchase related expenses, we have to add it. Okay, sir. Raw material consumed also is calculated in the same way. Divided by average stock. Average stock means opening plus closing divided by 2. Okay, sir. So this depicts or shows how many times a company's inventory has been sold when compared to their inventory. Okay. So if inventory turnover is low, what it depicts? It means either the inventory is growing, that is the inventory or stock level is going up, or the sales are dropping. So the company should always try to keep inventory turnover as high as possible. Next, coming to stock velocity, that is for how long I am holding the inventory. Simple, number of days or months in a year divided by stock turnover ratio, whatever we have already computed. So this measures how fast the inventory is used or consumed. Next, coming to debtor turnover ratio, annual credit sales, when debtors comes into picture, whenever credit sales is made. So take credit sales in the numerator divided by average account receivables. So average is opening plus closing divided by 2. If opening is not there given, we can straight away take only closing. And account receivables includes two things, guys: debtors plus bills receivables. If no information is given with respect to bills receivables, take only debtors. That's all. Next, accounts receivable includes both bills, whatever I told. Higher the ratio, better is the position for the company. So even debtor turnover ratio, the company should always try to keep it as high as possible. Next comes to debt collection period. This will tell, once you have made a credit sales, how long you will take to collect the money from your customers or debtors. So what is the formula? Number of days or months in a year divided by debtor turnover ratio, whatever we previously calculated. Lower the velocity, the better is the position. So whatever time you are giving to the debtors, it is better you always give the less time. Lesser the period, the lesser amount will be blocked in the debtors, and there will be lesser chances of bad debts. Agree? So every company should try to keep their debt collection period as low as possible. Okay. Next, coming to creditor turnover ratio. When creditors comes into picture, whenever the company has purchased something on credit basis. So take credit purchases on the numerator divided by average account payable, that is opening plus closing divided by 2. and account payable includes two things, that is bills payable plus the creditors. If bills payable is not given in the question, take only creditors, that's all. So what this indicates? This indicates the speed at which the payments for creditors are made. The payment for creditors are made. Then creditors velocity is given, number of days or months in a year divided by creditors turnover ratio. What it tells is how many days you are taking to make the payment to creditors. Assume you have purchased the goods on credit today, after 10 days you are making the payment. So creditors velocity is 10 days. That is how much time you are taking to pay for your creditors. So you should always try to take more and more credit period from your suppliers, so that the company can use that funds for some other purpose and get good returns. But if the company wants to maintain good credit rating, it's better to pay the creditors as early as possible. Okay, next coming to profitability ratios. And one more thing guys, whenever you are taking credit sales and credit purchases, it has to be taken net of returns. If there is any returns, we have to reduce it and then take it. Then coming to profitability ratio, gross profit ratio. We know how to calculate gross profit. Compare that with sales and find out the percentage. Then net profit ratio. Net profit is nothing but profit after tax. Net profit divided by sales into 100 is my net profit ratio. Then coming to return on investment. What is my investment? Capital. Capital includes all the things. That is long-term fund. So compare your EBIT divided by capital employed. EBIT is the profit which I have earned before paying for the providers of fund. Okay, so what is the providers of fund or fund? Total capital, which includes both debt as well as equity. So EBIT divided by capital employed will give us return on investment. Next, the return on assets, net profit after tax divided by net assets. Net asset is again nothing but the net worth or the shareholders fund of the company. Then return on net worth also similar formula, same formula almost. Operating ratio, operating cost divided by sales into 100. What is operating cost? Material cost plus labor cost, factory overheads, office and selling, are all indirect expenses we can tell. Clear? Direct plus indirect expenses of the company. Next coming to market test ratio, earnings per share. Whatever earnings available to equity shareholder is there, divided by number of equity shares. If number of equity shares is not directly given in the question, we can calculate it. How so? The equity share capital you take, divide it by the face value or nominal value of the shares. You will get number of equity shares. Okay. So this will depict what is the earnings or profit earned by the company per share. Next, dividend per share. Out of the earnings, how much dividend is paid per share? So whatever dividend is paid to the equity shareholder, divided by number of equity share. Then price earnings ratio. So market price per share divided by earnings per share. Market price per share will be given in the question if they ask you to calculate P ratio. Then dividend payout ratio, that is out of your earnings, how much dividend is paid in percentage form. So how to calculate is dividend per share divided by earnings per share, that is DPS by EPS into 100, and this will be in percentage. Then dividend yield. I am comparing my dividend with market price, that is market price is the price at which I can invest in the market in a particular stock. So when compared to that, what is my dividend yield? We are finding it out. So dividend per share divided by market price, my market price per share into 100 will give us dividend yield. Clear? So this is all about chapter 4, that is ratio analysis.